everybody. Yes, title of the video is Swapping Books with My Wife. I'm so excited.
Wait, no.
Not swapping books. You can tell what I have on the brain. Buddy read. We're buddy reading. Are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Fairy tale!
By Stephen King.
I'm so excited.
Of course, we all know that I'm a massive Stephen King fan. It's almost like every single video I try to sneak him in somehow. Trust me, I'm not obsessed.
And if you were obsessed, that'd be okay.
This is a book that we have been meaning to buddy read together for quite some time.
Oh my gosh. A long time. Almost a year, I think.
Is it really?
Which is so, yes.
Is it really?
That is insane. We've been putting this off for so long, but this is the time.
Finally just get to talk to you about a book that I'm reading without thinking, oh, well, maybe I don't give too much away because she may want to read this. Now we can just gush.
I know, I'm so excited. This is gonna be so much fun.
Maybe now we do
It's gonna be
book
fun.
swaps and buddy reads.
Yeah.
Fairy Tale, Stephen King's newest fantasy book within the recent years. I don't know too much about it. I didn't watch any interviews. I didn't watch any videos. I didn't even read the back.
I haven't read the back either.
Going in blind is the best way to read Stephen King, so I'm not even gonna read the back.
There's no point.
Yeah, there's no point. So anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, let's get to reading. Love it. Oh my gosh, it's so yellow. Better? Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna deal with it. Update, it's been 2 days since I started this book. I'm sitting on chapter 6 on page 87. I've gotten no reading done since this morning. When you saw me in the Jeep, I was filming. I was reading while Ashlynn was in Pilates. Excellent build-up so far. The beginning of Fairy Tale, you get a very tragic kind of backstory to our main narrative voice. Or is it first person? We meet Charlie Reed and his cute, nice little family until everything goes wrong. Stephen King is one of those authors that's really good at tragedy amongst characters and making just some of the most broken and hurt and defeated people. We get a lot of backstory on Charlie, and he eventually saves the life of an old man who's fallen off a ladder and breaks his leg. This guy's known as being the kind of the village grouch, but he's also very mysterious, keeps to himself, very private person, so nobody knows too much about him, but there's loads of gossip around town about him and his house. His house is kind of this dilapidated Victorian home. Everybody calls it the Psycho House because it looks like the house from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Look that up if you want a reference. But he strikes a friendship up with this old man. I think we're about to get into the fantasy parts, hopefully very soon. Yeah. Excited to see where you go.
Okay, what if we had a podcast where books in bed? It's called Books in Bed. Babbling about books in bed. And we just babble about books in bed.
These are on.
Are you sure?
It's so funny. I had a whole vision for what the shot was going to look like. And our stupid warm light lamps crushed that dream. What do you think so far?
So far, I am very intrigued. I just read chapter 6 and hook, line, and sinker. I am hooked, and I'm ready to see what Stephen King has in store. The shed is so sketch.
Yeah, the shed has been sketched from the beginning. The fact that it's padlocked. I don't think it's necessarily to keep people out. I think it's to keep something in. Just knowing Stephen King.
Really?
Knowing Stephen King, everything is twisted and backwards.
You had,
Oh, my theory?
yeah, you had an interesting theory.
For some reason, I feel like the dog isn't a dog. I think it's like a human being.
It is 8 p.m.
It always happens
9.
when we have a video collaboration together. One of us is yawning like mad.
One of us is tired. I
So-
woke up early for Pilates. So Ian's alone on that theory. I do not think that is the case. But he's also read more Stephen King than me.
I just like guessing. It's just fun to get myself hyped about something that may never happen. What is that trope? Portal? Portal trope?
The portal trope.
Not the first book that he's written that has that, and it's probably not going to be the last.
My God.
He loves that freaking trope.
My collar. It looks so business casual. But I'm going to bed.
You're a very classy sleeper. If any of you say anything about this collar in the comments negatively, you're going down. Yeah, we're going to get to reading. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. It's been like 2 days since I last updated you all. I am whispering because it is very early, and I mean very early in the morning. I did not want to wake Ashlynn. This weekend is her birthday. I'm up early getting some decorations put up, but as I do so, I think I wanted to update you on Fairy Tale. We are blazing ahead. I'm on chapter 16 on page 275. Goodness gracious. This book is long. It is 2 pages shy of 600. Yeah, we picked a doozy. I'm finally in the fantasy world, and I really like the concept. It reminds me a little bit of Narnia, only there's not children finding this world by accident. Charlie was told by Mr. Bowditch that this place exists. It needs to be guarded and protected. This secret needs to be kept safe. This is a place that is wrought with disease. There's something called the Gray that is gripping the inhabitants of the population. The Gray essentially is this slow rotting illness that, some people's skin covers their mouth so they can't taste, and others it covers their eyes so they can't see, and others it covers their ears so they can't hear. Sometimes it does internal things first, where it takes the vocal cords or it takes organs, and we don't really know where it comes from. Like, we know that it's a curse upon the land, but Charlie he's blown away, but he's on a mission. He has to get to the most dangerous part of this world because he's trying to save Radar the dog. I don't know where Ashlynn is. I think she's lagging a little bit behind because she's had some pretty big deadlines that she's had to take care of. I had some extra time, a lot of extra time yesterday, so I read like 4 chapters. I'm gonna get to making these decorations. Fairy Tale.
Shall we show them where we're at?
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
This is where we are. Creepy man.
Yeah, he is kind of gross looking, isn't he?
Yeah.
Half of his face is gone. Anywho, we have finally caught up to each other.
Yes.
For a while, I think I was taking a lead there.
Yes.
It's just because you had so much stuff going on. And I still had stuff going on, but I guess I somehow found time to read this book.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't had time to read anything.
I know. I'm finally getting back into it. It's weird because I feel like for me, if I take a break from a book that I've been enjoying, then it kind of loses its...
Yeah.
I kind of lose the momentum. So jumping back into it, I'm like, I don't really feel as motivated anymore.
That's such a good observation because that's how I felt with 11/22/63. Mm-hmm. I did other things in between and kind of stopped in the middle. So that's why the middle was kind of like, oh gosh. And then of course when the end hit, I was like, oh, I see why I loved this book from the beginning. That is kind of how I feel now. Yeah, at the beginning of this book, it was very much sweet, nice build up, very interested.
I feel like I jumped back in at an interesting part in the plot.
Yeah. Charlie is in the fairy tale world. Well, he's been in the fairy tale world for a while. What do you think so far of this fairy tale world?
I don't know. This is gonna sound really dumb. I wasn't expecting there to actually be so many things that are inspired by well-known fairy tales like The Wizard of Oz,
Jack and the Beanstalk,
The Little Mermaid.
And on the way to the city, he mentioned 3 Little Pigs because Woody's house is made out of bricks.
That's right.
And Claudia's house is made out of sticks.
So that's really fun, and I feel like it really sets the scene. But there's so many questions regarding this world.
Yeah.
And because we don't really know much about it.
I guess my big question is, how did the well get built? How did the doorway to this other world? How did that happen?
I wonder if that will be answered.
I hope so.
I am just confused because we haven't read the back of the book.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've already accomplished our goal.
The blurbs make it sound like it's a battle for good and evil. Charlie's supposed to be a representation of like the cliche or stereotypical fairy tale noble character. But he's Stephen King-y. So he's... every time. He's supposed to be like that noble character in all the fairy tales, but being Stephen King, he's made him slightly morally gray. It seems like he wants to sometimes do the more convenient thing, which is the less noble decision, but he finds himself constantly choosing more of the more righteous path. And I don't know if I said it in this video. I know I said it in Ashlynn's video, so go check that out after you're done watching this one. But the dog is a dog.
Yeah, that's right.
But anywho, we're gonna keep going. Lot to go.
Yeah.
This book is bigger than it looks.
We will update you guys when there's something to update you on. Bye!
Okay, fairy tale. I'm not done. I am getting to chapter 27. I'm on page 481. So that's almost 100 pages left. I believe this sucker is a whopping 598. So much is happening. So much is happening. What's funny is you'll see this in Ashlynn's video when you go check that out after this one. Like that shout out. Ashlynn and I talked about this earlier, but this book, we really, really loved the beginning. It was an amazing beginning, excellent start. Stephen King usually captures my attention, right out the gate. He's just a phenomenal hook writer. He also is very good at keeping me engaged, except in this book. Ashlynn and I kind of talked about it. You'll see it in her video as well. But I don't know, something about the middle part of this book is kind of slogging me down. I feel a little bit slogged, not in a way that makes me think this book is bad. I just find myself wanting to read something else at the moment. I feel like every reader experiences that. We're excited to read a book. We pick it up, we read it for several hundred pages, and you find yourself in the middle of a book wanting to maybe start another one. I don't know. It's so funny how this works. The fairy tale aspects of this book are quite intriguing. His world building is exceptional. Stephen King is an amazing world builder. It's because this world isn't overly fantastic. There are fantasy books and fantasy series and fantasy authors that try to make the most fantastic fantasy settings, fantasy lore, magic systems, you name it. There's a place for that, but I really appreciate the subtle world building of Stephen King. This book reminds me a lot of those first 4 Dark Tower novels. You're really exploring Midworld with Roland and the gang. He's slowly building upon this place as you go along. That's the same thing with this book, only it's condensed. I don't know what it is right now. Stephen King is my favorite author, and I feel like some people who have a favorite author who have multiple 5-star books from one person often go into that author's other books that they haven't read, automatically assuming that it's going to be a 5-star read. I did not go into this book thinking it would be 5 stars. I don't think Ashlynn did either. And she loves Stephen King, and she has multiple 5-star reads from that man. I try to go into every Stephen King novel completely objective. I don't want to go in going, he's the best ever, he's the best author to ever exist. Oh my gosh, everything he writes is gold. That's obviously not the case. One of the most recent books I've read from him, Insomnia, I didn't like. I didn't like it at all. And it has humongous ties to The Dark Tower, which is one of my favorite series of all time. And I think it's the coolest idea he's ever come up with. But I didn't like that book. I don't want people to think that this channel is just me going, Stephen King's great. Your authors are, all the other authors that you like are crap. And it's not true. I try to go into every work of his without knowing a single thing about it. And I can say I've not been disappointed. But anyway, Charlie is doing his thing, guys. He got wrapped up in something in this fairy tale world. And this one has some infuriating crap that goes on to kind of wreck Charlie's plans. But the cool thing about it is Charlie is getting wrapped up in a prophecy. I think what Stephen King is doing with the prophecy trope in this book is actually really creative. The prophecy's not done yet, and ain't fulfilled, okay? There's still a lot they gotta do. I have almost 100 pages left. Ashlynn and I both plan to finish this book tonight. She is, I think, just like maybe a chapter, maybe half a chapter behind me. Let's hit it, dude. Let's do this thing together. I was waiting for it. Oh yeah, I changed shirts. I went on a walk. It's nighttime. I don't want to get hit by a car. I was waiting for it. In every single Stephen King book. Oh yeah, and if I'm out of breath, I walked up some stairs. A lot of stairs. I'm not that out of shape. In every single Stephen King book, I patiently wait, eagerly wait for the Dark Tower reference. Or if, some books of his don't have a Dark Tower reference, but most of his major novels have a Dark Tower reference. And fairy tale's no different. I'm so excited. That is so cool. It's a little subtle thing. It's not like this book has like a major bridge tie to the series, but there's a certain phrase. If you're familiar with the series at all, you'll catch the phrase. And when they said it, I was like, Stephen King, you evil genius. Yeah, catch my breath. Whew. All right, Fody. Fody. Ugh, what are these words? Hi, folks. Fairy tale. I finished last night. The ending was superb. I really, really enjoyed the ending. I think overall this book is just beautiful all the way around. From beginning to end, you're just, I don't know, it has that whimsical feeling to it. You know, it can be dark at times, it can be very violent at times, it can be very vulgar at times. It is Stephen King. It has the feeling of a YA, but it's definitely adult fantasy because of the language. The ending kind of took this from like a 3.25, how I was feeling yesterday, and it raised it to a 4. A huge jump, almost an entire star. I think the interesting thing about this story, if this was written by any other fantasy author, I think this would be a 2, possibly a 3 book series. But Stephen King managed to get that amount of content wrapped up in 600 pages, which is very impressive. Happy I finally got to this book, but I think enough rambling from me. Let's catch back up with Ashlynn. I think she is done now, so let's wrap
It's good old.
Is it looking good? We're done!
We finished! Oh my gosh.
What did I think? I've already told them. I'm still sitting at a 4-star
That's awesome.
because I really liked the beginning, that first third. I really liked the urban setting, and then I really liked the last 4 chapters. I thought it was really nicely wrapped up. The beginning was a slog and a half.
The beginning?
Did I say the beginning?
Yeah.
The middle was a slog and a half. Stephen King's fantasy is really fun, no matter what you read. All the fantasy that I've read from him has been... Overall, it was fun. I'd recommend it. I think this is a great place to start for Stephen King if you want a subtle approach to him. Obviously, you should probably start with his first novel ever, but fairy tale is also a great place to start. What did you think? Go hard.
Well,
give us the tea. Spill it.
Well, okay. I felt similar to you. I loved the beginning of this book. I loved how we were setting it up. I loved the characters. And then once we went to the fairy tale world, I actually enjoyed that as well. I was enjoying getting to like learn about it and meet new characters. And then once we stayed there for a while, I started to completely lose all the steam I had left. It took a completely different direction than what I was expecting it to. That was, I think, a good and a bad thing for me. I'm probably gonna land somewhere between, and this is so painful for me to say, like this actually hurts my heart.
I enjoyed it for the most part. Again, you're right. It doesn't have that feeling that I've gotten from other King novels. The 2020s, I've only read one other book, and that was Billy Summers. I feel like trying to compare the two, Billy blew this out of the water.
Yeah.
This is still a good example of how strong of a writer he is, even this late in his career, but it does not have the emotional weight that previous works have had.
Yeah. I did enjoy the book though.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the story, and I would recommend it to people.
I think it's a great fall read if you still have room on your fall TBR. This is a great book to slip in there. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. This was such a fun video idea.
I know.
I'm glad we finally did a video like this.
Me too.
I know you guys are wanting book swaps. Trust me, a book swap is coming. We want to do more buddy reads, so give us down below in the comments. Give us some books, give us some authors, give us some series that you guys want us to read. We're open to anything, really. Thank you so much for being on my channel again.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to see Ashlynn's point of view for all of this, please go over to her channel right now. Check out her video. It's going to be amazing. You're going to be blown away. Subscribe to her, subscribe to the channel. Folks, that's it.
That's all she wrote.
Bye. Oh, crap.
Was that on?
Yeah, the whole time. Yeah, bye. See you later.